we do have a problem. We have a problem when the failures of Islam throughout the world, the failures of all Islamic societies come here into Britain. Their intolerance of freedom of conscience, their intolerance of apostates, their intolerance of freedom of expression and freedom of speech, their intolerance of minorities, other religious minorities, sexual minorities, their intolerance of gays, their dislike and distrust of half of the population, women, and many, many other things. And the call, what's more, for a parallel legal system within Britain and European societies. This is monstrous. No other group behaves like.
Hey guys, how you all doing? Welcome back again to another Bitcoin amazing reaction video. Guys, we are going to be checking this video where Douglas Murray was one of the speakers, and the title is Europe is failing its Muslim. Guys, I'm super sure you're going to love and enjoy every bit of this. So don't further talking, let's dive into it and check it out.
The motion, Europe is failing its Muslims. Well, although we're focusing on Muslims in Europe, this is a topic which is relevant right throughout the world. And we have a panel of some of the most provocative and stimulating speakers on this subject, and there'll be plenty of disagreement. And we'll be hearing later from our audience. So our panel, for the motion, Tariq Ramadan and Petra Steenan, and arguing against the motion, Douglas Murray and Fleming Rose. That's our panel. Welcome to you all. All right, so let's hear our panelists make their opening statements. So first, for the motion, Europe is failing its Muslims, Tariq Ramadan. Now, he is Professor of Contemporary Islamic Studies at Oxford University. He's been taught by some of the best Muslim scholars in the world, but he's also very active at the grassroots level. He is President of the European Muslim Network. Tariq Ramadan, your time starts now.
Thank you. Let me start by saying that we are living in a difficult situation. If you listen to what is said in the European countries, the perception is very bad. 75%, for example, French people are associating Islam with violence. The perception is that Islam is a problem and that Muslims are creating problems. They are not really perceived at home in Europe. Every single European society has its own debates, its own controversies around the Muslim presence. The first one is the way Europe is defining itself. The current discourse and the general discourse is that Muslims are not European citizens. We have millions of Muslims that are already Europeans. And this is the situation when we speak about Turkey, for example. It's as if we are speaking about people who are coming from outside, not acknowledging the fact that we already have Europeans that are Muslims in our country. Not only this, on the geographical dimension, it's as if when we speak about Europe, we speak about Western Europe. Eastern Europe is not there. The Muslims who are being Europeans for generations and centuries are not perceived as Europeans. The Bosnian people are not Europeans. It's as if because they are Muslims, they are less Europeans. Our politicians, very often they speak about their fellow citizens as if they don't know who are these new citizens who are Muslim and they are living with them. It's as if these new citizens are problematic because of their religion, but not citizens as to their status. And this is where we have this confusion. We speak about cultural and we Islamize the socioeconomic problems. Muslims in our societies are facing unemployment, discrimination, and racism, and it's not because they are Muslims, it's because they are facing class discrimination, segregation, and wrong social policies. At the cultural level, it's as if the new visibility of the Muslims is just showing that they don't want to integrate. In fact, it's exactly the opposite. The opposite, they are visible. Millions are visible. It means that they are at home. So when you have mosques, when you have organizations, it's not because you don't want to integrate. It's exactly the opposite. You feel at home, you build your mosque, and even this, it's also a very important point in the reality. So it's the opposite. When it comes to food, curry, and couscous, that's fine. When it comes to money, Islamic banking, that's fine. But when it comes to dresses, when it comes to color, when it comes to something which is different, it's not fine. So we are selective in our integration. Money and food, welcome. Colors and dresses, no. So, last point. last point, when it comes to the media, it's as if here we are only dealing with problems and we are dealing with these controversies every day. We are talking about violence, the minarets, the headscarves, all the problems, not talking about what is done at the grassroots level, the positive actions of the Muslims, the presence. Millions are silent and are constructive and contributing to the reality of our country. And let me say something which is important. The Muslims are understanding the West and Europe much better than before. They are understanding and rediscovering their religion much better than before. And I would say, yes, I'm supporting this motion because today we are failing, but it's a question of time, because what I see at the grassroots level is much more positive than what is happening today in our political discourse, media coverage. Things are very important behind. This is what I call the silent revolution, but we need time and it will be coming. Thank you.
Well, a very passionate and fluent opening there to our debate. Against the motion is Douglas Murray. He's the director of the Centre for Social Cohesion here in Britain, which tries to promote integration between Britain's ethnic minorities and the wider population, and it specialises in radicalisation. So, Douglas Murray, your time starts now.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Tariq says that Europeans associate Islam with violence. There is some truth in that. There is also a very obvious reason for that, which is that Islam is associated with violence. It was not Buddhists who flew planes into the Twin Towers. It was not Hindus or Jews that blew up the London Underground in buses a few years ago. And that simple fact has to be acknowledged if you're even going to start a dialogue. Now, what is happening, ladies and gentlemen, it's not a pantomime. I'd argue that Europe has done not too badly, considering the circumstances. In the middle of the last century, there was an almost negligible Muslim presence in Europe. At the turn of the 21st, in Western Europe alone, there were 15 to 17 million Muslims. That's a very fast migration, ladies and gentlemen, one of the fastest in human history. And no society would find it easy to deal with that kind of migration. As it happens, European societies, Western European societies have, I think, dealt with this much better than some would. Certainly, Muslims coming to live in Britain and in Western Europe enjoy more rights and better rights, among them freedom of worship, than they do in any Islamic country in the earth here today. We do have a problem. We have a problem when the failures of Islam throughout the world, the failures of all Islamic societies, come here into Britain. Their intolerance of freedom of conscience, their intolerance of apostates, their intolerance of freedom of expression and freedom of speech, their intolerance of minorities, other religious minorities, sexual minorities, their intolerance of gays, their dislike and distrust of half of the population, women, and many, many other things. And the call, what's more, for a parallel legal system within Britain and European societies. This is monstrous. No other group behaves like this, asks for parallel laws. This is a fundamental problem, and it's one we're going to have to deal with. It's a problem between a society, Western Europe, that believes that laws are based on reason, and Islam that believes that they are based on revelation. Between these two ideas, I'm not sure there is very much compromise for Europe. It is not Europe that has let down its Muslims, but the Muslims of Europe that have let down Europe. This is not solely something which we have to say we can never reconcile. Of course we can reconcile this, but we need to be honest about it. We need to be frank about it, and we cannot avoid things just because they are unpleasant. And if there were one thing I would wish Muslims in Europe could learn today, as fast as possible, it would be this: that you have no right in this society not to be offended. You have no right to say that because you don't like something, you can commit violence, or you would like something to be stopped or censored. You have no right to have more hate laws or hate crime laws or hate speech laws just to defend Islam. You have to realize, the Muslims of Europe have to realize, that a society in which even your deepest feelings can be trodden upon is the only society worth living in. And the sooner we can learn that, the sooner that Islam can learn that within Europe, the better. It is not Europe that has failed its Muslims. It is Islam that has failed Europe. I'd argue Islam has failed its Muslims. Thank you.
Wow, guys, that was so amazing. Guys, like the above video was released few years ago, and oh my god, that means this problem has started years ago, not even now. Like, I don't know when all this problem is going to end. Like, you know, just like what Douglas Murray said, you know, that the Muslim, they have intolerance of, you know, of free speech. Guys, there was this other video that I posted earlier where they say that okay, that just because that you are a Muslim, that does not mean that you do not have the right to be offended or intolerance, because the society we live in a society where there is 1, 2 or more people, and people might just go against your religion. People might just say, you know, some nasty thing that you not even love to hear concerning your religion. They might just say, okay, I don't love the way you worship, I don't love the way you do this, I don't love the way you do that. And you shouldn't, even if you want to get annoyed, you shouldn't get provoked, you know, to do nasty things just because someone talked about your religion. Remember the world we are living in, we have all this free speech. Yes, you have that free speech to speak up your mind, to say how you feel about something and how you don't feel about something. So I always said it that, you know, when an immigrant decides to migrate to go to another man's country, another man's religion, they should try as much as possible to abide to the laws, to the rules, to the tradition of the land, to their values, to adapt their culture, because you don't expect the people to start living or believing what you believe in, because you are the one that's supposed to believe or even accept their own tradition, because you are the one that left your religious country to that particular country. So I think they should try as much as possible to accept the culture of the land, the tradition of the land. Okay, and it's not that they hate the Muslims, they love them, but what they are totally against is nuisance. Yes, causing nuisance. That is what they dislike, that is what they don't like. Okay, and that has been what they have been against. Okay, like if you can live in any British country, if you can live peacefully without causing any nuisance, I don't think you will have any problem with them. Yes, I don't really think so. I don't think you will have any problem with them. Is when you go there and you start causing problem, bringing problem up and down, that is when, okay, that they will say, okay, that okay, maybe you want to destroy something that we have been building for years, and they may just decide to, you know, to kick you out. So I urge every immigrant to maintain the traditions, the values, the cultures of the land, to obey their laws, or avoid the don'ts. Okay, the do's and the don'ts. They should know all these things, know all the rules and the regulations, so that you will find peace and happiness. Okay, so guys, I'm really so excited sharing this video with you guys, and I hope you guys learn a lot from this. So let me know what you think about this in the comment section, and I'll be right there waiting for you. So guys, you see you all in my next one. Bye.